Smell and breath.
Pneumonia.
He doesn't need a tutor. He needs Ritalin and a babysitter.
Paul's the patient with steroids for the autoimmune, starter on dialysis for the kidney failure.
Yeah, okay. You planted something in my apartment to make me think I'm allergic to Sarah. You're trying to gaslight me.
You know what I never thought was underrated until this moment? Forgetting things. People say perfect memory and we think, wow, I'll never lose my keys and anniversary chocolates will be delivered 3 days early. But in reality, hey, I still remember that time you came home drunk and peed in the sink. Very excited to be reacting to House MD Season 7, Episode 12. You must remember this. On this channel, we are reacting to all 177 House episodes, and this will be episode 144. Let's see if I can get the diagnosis before House does as a doctor working in London.
I definitely remember you. It's a gimmick for tips. It was last August. Saturday the 14th, you were wearing a blue dress with polka dots. Your eyes were puffy. I can't move my legs.
2 medical cases, both more fascinating than the last. Temporary paralysis, high CK levels, and a perfect memory. Complete recall of every moment of every day since puberty.
You said there's a second case?
Who just failed his pathology recertification exam, is going to lose his board certification and get fired. Tutor it is.
Foreman.
I aced my first pathology boards.
Medicine has come a long way in the last 100 years.
A new diet, right?
Yeah, she went vegan.
A laxative's vegan.
Shouldn't you be working for NASA or something?
Remembering something, it's not the same as understanding it. I'm not a genius.
You are not pooping. How many trips, stumbles, falls did you have?
11.
Last year?
20.
This early onset Parkinson's, starter on levodopa. You've given up on ever finding anyone. I'm pretty sure that there is a river nearby.
I'm keeping her.
Seems like this house cat needs to avoid the first half of its name if it ever wants to see the light of milk again. I hope the new feline furball doesn't take it personally though, since it's less their existence and more what they represent that's the issue: Wilson giving up. If Wilson thinks he's in pain though, imagine the pain of remembering everything that you've ever seen, like our patient. But has that even ever happened in the real world? Well, the most similar thing is called hyperthymesia, and it's a formidable ability to recall past experiences and their details. That includes things like who was at a party and what they were wearing. Even this though doesn't mean remembering every single minuscule detail, which has been, as of yet, elusive in the real world. To give you an example though, the first ever person out of the only 60 or so cases with hyperthymesia was Jill Price. Well, who is she? An author that was based in South Carolina back in the 80s who could remember every day of her life from the point she was 14 years old. She says that this experience can be maddening because everything she sees or hears can bring back memories. Like if she sees a date on the TV, she flashes back to that day in her life and what she was doing as well as who was with her. Jill did say though that her brain changed at around 8 years old. So why could that be? Well, probably it was a simple predetermined plan of her genetic code, and there are so few cases of it that we can't know for sure. There are some theories that it can be related to a brain structure called the amygdala, which is the fear and anger center of the brain, but is also important in retrieving memories. But how does that apply to our patient? Well, if she acquired amygdala damage alongside her other symptoms of constipation and clumsiness, then that might explain why she's feeling this way. House thinks she's got Parkinson's disease, but she doesn't have slowness of movement, tremor, or rigidity, so that makes it unlikely. Autism would fit in all fairness, but that wouldn't really need a cure and wouldn't be progressive. What's more on the cards, to be fair, could be Wilson's disease. That classically causes the instability and constipation and could lead to other brain changes. All right, I'm going for Wilson's disease as my first diagnostic guess. Let's get more clues.
Is there a trick you use? Mnemonics? Meditation?
It's just there. My heart.
Fast, wide, complex rhythm. Get the panels.
Maybe we're missing the obvious. The heart could be behind everything. Stress-induced arrhythmia could be caused by long QT syndrome.
Run a stress test to confirm long QT. Use the sister.
Sorry about the daisies. I always get it confused if you love or hate them.
This is distress pup needs stirring.
I heard the story About the time you hit Nadia with the car must have been pretty scary.
You ruined my 23rd birthday!
Nadia, don't start.
Elena, get out!
What are you doing? You've got 3 days. You're nothing but excuses and distractions.
We started her on a beta blocker. It should keep her heart rhythm under control.
Smell her breath.
Pneumonia.
He doesn't need a tutor. He needs Ritalin and a babysitter.
Pulse the patient with steroids for the autoimmune, starter on dialysis for the kidney failure.
Yeah, okay. You planted something in my apartment to make me think I'm allergic to Sarah. You're trying to gaslight me.
You know what I never thought was underrated until this moment? Forgetting things. People say perfect memory and we think, wow, I'll never lose my keys and anniversary chocolates will be delivered 3 days early. But in reality, hey, I still remember that time you came home drunk and peed in the sink. To be fair, you don't need a perfect memory to remember that though. What we do need though is to find out why her breath is smelling like ammonia cleaning products, because the team have just assumed it's the kidneys. I mean, they also said that her CK was high, which could come from the kidneys, but also the muscle or heart usually as well. So in this context, it's pretty much useless since we don't know the number and all those organs were potentially involved here. What is less useless though is her relationship with her sister. It's probably a good example of how she treats most of the people in her life, and we still haven't been able to introduce a partner, so presumably she's single. We also know there are themes of giving up on partners in the episode, with Wilson getting a cat, which would match that nicely. Maybe in an effort to plug that relationship hole, she's exposed herself to animals regularly. Could she then be a regular visitor to the petting zoo? Oh, if she got a zoonotic condition, that could explain why they can't find the cause for her arrhythmias and possibly even her brain function. Maybe it's just been sitting there for years. Oh, my days. Okay, toxoplasmosis could actually do all those things in theory and would be fully treatable and maybe wouldn't be visible on a scan. All right, I'm going for toxoplasmosis as my second diagnostic guess. Oh, if I got that, I'd be so excited.
It's simple math. She's hurt me more than she's helped me. I can't breathe.
You don't look at or touch anything that doesn't belong to you, including food. You fail and I will kill you.
Respiratory distress means we were wrong about autoimmune.
You're just allergic to the dialysis.
Won't that mean I'll die?
Even if you're right about autoimmune, we now don't have time to prove it. Transplant board will never give her a kidney.
Go fix this.
Do you want me to donate a kidney to my sister?
Yes.
I didn't have the flu. I just choked.
We found a donor. It's your sister. And 3 milligrams of lorazepam, and I'm gonna need suction.
Did the patient thank her sister?
No. We haven't considered her blood. Clots could hit her leg, heart, kidney, and brain.
Factor 5 Leiden.
54%?
They make the practice tests harder than the actual exam.
I can't handle failing at one more thing in my life.
You can do this. You feel me?
Yeah.
This is a great example of how we can be as motivated as we like, but if we haven't put in the work, then we'll be doing backstreet deals to get the exam questions before the paper for the rest of our lives. I do love this whole Taub arc though, so much depth. He said the reason why he choked was because he got a perfect score on it back at med school, so he knew that whatever he got this time around would be the difference between the man back then and the one today. Of course that isn't true, but you can see it might make mathematical sense, especially when he's just lost his wife and house. The patient might go one step further and lose more than that though, since she's still unwell, even after commandeering a spare pea factory from her sister. Our team has now given up on their autoimmune theory, but House is now onto something here, it seems. Appreciation. Is he trying to find a hole in her perfect memory because she won't thank her sister for her kidney? If you can prove she isn't exactly objective, will that show that she has a deficiency in the nucleus accumbens, which is important for gratitude? Will that then lead them to a forbidden treasure hunt, which ends with the oh so precious prize of toxoplasmosis? I hope so for her case of course. I have one last guess though, and it could actually fit as well. Maybe if they show her memory isn't as perfect as they thought, they'll realize the hole in her memory was actually of a tick bite. That means that she went off to find happiness with animals and instead located herself a case of chronic Lyme disease. It can cause arrhythmia, loss of balance, and memory changes that would explain everything. Alright, I'm going for Lyme disease due to a lack of a perfect memory as my third and final diagnostic guess. Maybe they'll find the classic rash of erythema migrans hidden somewhere. That would be crazy. Alright, let's find out.
Oh, too hot.
I actually know her. She's the new barista at my coffee shop. She said my coffee is not the only thing she'd like to put whipped cream on.
Bartender, champagne for everyone.
Thank you for saving my life.
Maybe we could go back. I could drive us up there, we could get a cabin, and maybe rent a canoe.
Elena, I'm sorry. I can't do this.
You can't forgive anyone. You focus on the bad memories instead of the good.
I'm not doing that.
You feel guilty because Wilson's one that's alone and not you? You still don't think you deserve this.
She tried to reconcile, but the bad memories crowded out the good, and she ran.
Do a peripheral blood smear. Look for acanthocytes. I'll be right in. Jigsaw puzzles.
Why are you doing that? I don't have OCD.
What we thought was a gift. It's just you literally obsessing over your own life. You have McLeod syndrome.
Your various symptoms can be managed with medication. You can live another 20 years.
Well, it's hard to choke when you have all the answers.
You could stay if you wanted to, just until you find your new place.
Okay.
These are SSRIs. They've been effective in treating OCD.
I flaked. I walked her to her car and said goodnight.
I'll give you 10 days.
McLeod syndrome. What? I was pretty sure that almost only affected males as well, and it does. Mainly because it's a genetic condition that's carried on the X chromosome, meaning that females affected by it have backup genes with their second X that can kick in and make the syndrome less severe. That doesn't mean it never happens though, and both parents and even family members can be unaffected. Really good diagnosis and fun episode, but I had no chance. Let's say 7.8 out of 10 entertainment, 8 out of 10 accuracy, 7.8 out of 10 diagnosis. This episode only makes full sense when you watch the previous one where Cuddy's mother puts her life on the line.